Yeah, our new voice wanted to just spoiler the player name, but of course we are dragging it out a little bit. To the top right in the red, we have the player for Fnatic, and his ID is go.
Fnatic alive.
Get yourself together, League of Legends voice, alright?
Bottom left, we have his opponent. Starting in blue, starting for LGIM. Is a Terran player known as
LGIM, Dream Entity.
Big fan of John Lennon, and he's shown likes to be aggressive at least 1 out of 3 games in a best of 3, whether it's a 2-racks or a gas first or some sort of 1 base.
Talking about gas first, this is exactly what Alive does here. He starts with this refinery before he builds the barracks, and therefore aggression from Alive. And Alive is headed now to the... is he actually heading out? Yes, to the bottom left with one of his SCVs. This is going to be a proxy build from him. This is something that we've seen in the past, and it is very, very strong.
I think it's going to be Reapers, because there's no way he would proxy his barracks like that to go for Marauders, and there's also not a lot of reason to go gas first with Marauders either.
You can also proxy, of course, the factory in the starport at the bottom left, which is something that a lot of players tend to do. But the positioning for Alive is really something that we don't see all that often. On the other hand, we have Dream Entity not skipping on the scout. He's going with an SCV straight into his opponent's base and will at least see that there is no barracks just yet. And therefore, of course, deduct that there has to be a proxy somewhere.
Yeah, he's also got the possibility to make Reactor Hellions. That's something that's quite popular with this build as well. And we'll see if he's going to make the factory or not as soon as that barracks finishes.
The thing about Dreamer's opening is that he did not skip on gas. So he started with a refinery on his own and is currently not building a command center. Alive is proxying the factory as we already expected.
Yep. And Dreamer is really looking for it. The Reaper is going to be pretty useful in defense here if he actually uses it for that. It's also going to be a very quick way to scout. And there's the Reactor going out for life, so this is going to be Ganji-style Reactor Hellions forward here.
And right now, Dreamer is actually producing Marauders. So for Alive, this is something that we usually see a little bit farther to the left, but this is also the position that you will always scout as a Terran player. And now the SCV for Dream Entity is actually hovering over to exactly this position. He spots here, but he doesn't go to the right. And why would he? This is not a position that a Terran player will usually use. So this is pretty cool by Alive, and let's see how well he can make it work.
Really interesting to me that he's getting the Marauders. It's going to be a starport follow-up here, of course, where Banshee's even going to put the tech lab down with his barracks, but right now, DRXT's got his own second gas, and he may counter with Cloak, which is going to be something that Alive really struggles to deal with his production facilities all the way in the middle of the map.
Dream Entity now with 1 Reaper, and the Marauder, of course, also would have helped him a lot against the Marauder push of his opponent. He didn't get a bunker, though, and right now this is going to be very interesting. Alive with a starport, a lot faster than Dream Entity, but he does not have as much gas as his opponent, because he's still relying on a single refinery. He might not even get a Banshee at all. Now his factory has been spotted, and the Reactor too, so the Hellions are not a mystery anymore. And Alive has the first Medivac building, so Dreamer TT knows that he has to defend his main base against Hellions.
Yes. He is a starport going with no tech lab. It's no longer a mystery at all. He's actually handing the barracks in the main base, which is, well, I mean, it's creative and cool, but it's not really going to accomplish too much. Sneaking a Marine around.
Alive finds himself actually in a pretty tough spot because he is, well, his Hellions won't do too much against the Marauders that we have. At the same time, Dreamer is now going for the, or can go for the Cloak Banshee with all the gas that he has. Decides to not actually do it. He starts to build something, but he's supply blocked.
Yeah, he's supply blocked, and he's trying to get a Viking out so he can shut down the drop play, but this is something that he doesn't even have to worry about anymore. And actually, as soon as the barracks dies, he's probably just going to cancel that and go for those Cloak Banshees we were talking about. So I'd say continue to make it, but with a tech up on the factory, you can just switch.
Alive now with a follow-up into expansion and flies back with his buildings, but he still has a potential to go up the ramp and try to do some damage, and this is exactly what he does. Just trying to kill the supply depot, but against the Marauders, he's not too comfortable.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to make that work.
He's like, nah. Dreamer TT is basically inviting him. You want to come up my ramp? He's like, nah, I'm fine. I'll stay on the low ground.
You know, maybe on game number 2, but right now I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah, so this early aggression from Alive didn't really pay off all too much. And, right, we have another expansion for Dreamer, and oh my god, these Cellar Massages are awesome.
I'm missing out.
Yeah, you're definitely missing out here.
Well,
no, Stella, you stay here. Oh my god.
Well,
do you think that the Banshee player is actually going to achieve a lot here with Alive having the second orbital ready in time?
Well, he's got the second orbital, not only that, but he's got his starport up, but he needs to deal with the supply block, because the supply block is actually something that is not allowing him to make that Viking. Now it's out, but he's got camping Viking for Dreamer TT, and that's something that's really interesting, and that is going to affect us quite
The
soon.
LGIM player is going for a double expansion here, by the way. He's not only relying on one command center, but is getting the second one, and the siege tanks are a lot faster, as you already said.
Here we go.
Yeah, Banshee number 1 is just chasing these Hellions away.
He may cancel Cloak. He's got the double expand, and I mean, I don't know how effective this is really going to be, but again, he has that Viking that's camping from earlier. Stim is on the way for Alive now as well.
And Alive is also getting, with the Engineering Bay, he of course has the means to get a couple of detection in the game as well. Cloak is not done, and now it's Viking against Banshee battle. Actually, Alive decides to target his opponent's Banshee before he kills before he starts to attack the Viking, and therefore losing the anti-air, killing the threat to his base. That's actually pretty cool.
That was really cool. Dreamer, they're almost able to make that work, but just not quite. And it was a really cool idea, because it was clearly, you know, he was like, well, if my Cloak finishes, this is just barely going to work out for me. And it didn't, unfortunately, but the same thing now can hold true with the Viking still being out there, and if he sends another Banshee in.
Alive is heavily supply blocked. He was at 70 of 70 when he realized it and started to build 4 supply depots immediately, but this is definitely cutting into his production by quite a bit. And he is a fair bit ahead in supply, but now the Banshee is moving in. Ooh. Lucky that he didn't move over those Marines. The scan would have finished the Banshee off in just a few seconds.
Really nice control here is going to be important for Dreamer. He needs to take out some. He needs to do some damage here with this, because he's committed a lot. I know he's got the 3rd command center up, but still, Alive is actually going to be pretty happy with all the resources invested.
He repairs his Viking. He has it closer to the mineral line, of course, than Dreamer TT, and therefore can rely on the SCVs repairing. Gets an upper hand in the air battle. At this point, both of them trying to be a little bit more passive. Resources lost, there's not a huge difference just yet. They have basically the same worker count, and yeah, the army size, that's a little bit in favor of Alive, but it's pretty insignificant at this point.
Yeah, and Dreamer's getting his stim finished with 1-1, whereas Alive now getting combat shields. He's already got the stim, but he's a little bit behind in upgrades well, not in total, but he will be. Depends on how quickly he starts that +1 armor. It's kind of a funny situation that they find themselves in. A scan will take out the Banshee.
Bye, Banshee.
I want to make a song called Bye Bye Banshee. I haven't figured out the lyrics yet. I think the lyrics start a little bit like, don't fly that Banshee over the watchtower.
Hallo, tschüss und bye bye. Hallo, tschüss und auf Wiedersehen.
Oh!
That was definitely a detour that the Viking should not take. Close one.
This is the new hit single, Don't Take That Detour Viking. The Hellions actually could run by this bunker, he decides not to. There's too many units on the high ground. He could have tried to trade for SCVs, but I like the choice of Alive
We
here.
need to suggest to Tempo that he is making a new song and calls it Bye Bye Banshee.
Yeah. I would like Tempo to make that song. Shoutouts to Tempo for making such good songs. Shoutouts to Smix for singing them with him.
110 supply, 102 right now. Alive once again supply block. This is kind of getting a trend in this game.
Yeah.
Alive in his supply blocks every single time he hits one. He hit his supply block at 70, built 4 supply depots, so he had 110 supply available, and as soon as he hits the 110, he's a supply block once more.
And this is something that is really adding up. I mean, Alive could be in a better position than he is without these supply blocks. It's really significant. And man, oh man, is this Banshee harsh.
Yeah, the Viking.
Or rather,
actually
4 kills.
Really good with 4 kills. In a Terran versus Terran.
That's pretty impressive.
The tank count at this point is still in favor of Dreamer, and Alive is controlling the map a little bit better. He's getting his third base faster, but not the third command center. That's already been available to Dreamer TT for quite a while now, which is why he had a bit of an advantage here in the mineral income, and now he actually positions his orbital to the left side of the map at the third base location.
Gotta pull these Hellions back. And the supply is, you know, still sticking pretty even. Alive is not adding any more Hellions into the mix. These are his Hellions from before that he's still trying to make use of, but they're just not really, they're kind of like dead supply for him right now, as there's not much he can do without running in and catching Dreamer TT with his pants down or going for a major drop, which will be scouted by sensor towers in place.
And right now, once again, the gas at the expansions are being taken. Look at those upgrades. They are actually spot on. Both of them +2/+2s are at exactly the same time. Marine count is almost even, 44 against 49. And now it's of course becoming a battle of position. We have the first sensor tower up for Dreamer TT, who wants to make sure that there's no drop play coming his way. Very important here to spot exactly what's going on, where the dropships are moving. There's sure going to be some additional sensor towers later on in the match. But at this point, both of them still on 3 bases, still trying to make sure that their opponent is not getting an edge.
Oh wow, this is great for Dreamer TT. He actually got so lucky, made this SCV went up here to make the depot. He got away for free. The drop got away for free. He does see it now though, and he's actually positioning himself. He's even got the turret up.
There's a drop to the top right by Dreamer, but he's heading straight to a missile turret.
Yeah, this is a big problem. He's got the Marines there as well. So a drop for a drop, that's what they say in StarCraft 2, not an eye for an eye.
No, we don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need that.
And there they are. Base number 4 for both of them. They're really just, it's just really a mirror matchup at this point. Both of them trying to go for the same kind of strategies, the same amount of units. The unit composition is very, very similar. It's just about positioning at this point. The SCV count is slightly in favor of Alive, and he is making sure that his base is safe with additional missile turrets, and there's already the sensor tower that we talked about. So at this point, Dreamer TT will know exactly where these Vikings are positioned and can always let that protect them.
A lot of stimming going on for Dreamer, but he's got the medevac count to back this up. Be careful with that Marine. Oh, the tanks are pre-sieged on the other side of a line of sight blocker. You never know what's on the other side of a line of sight blocker because it blocks sight, so you got to be careful.
A well-chosen name then, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Could also be a... Nah, whatever.
No, it's just nothing else.
I'm not going down the road.
There's nothing else to add here. Oh, well, that was a big stem for one Marine. That one Marine, man, did so much AoE damage to the other Marines.
Going for the drugs here. Marines are addicts, man. They're really addicts, and if they don't get the stim upgrade, they're only they're not really worth their money.
Yeah.
They're on cold turkey. Then they can't do anything. They just move around the map a little bit. Do you know what actually Marines that don't get stim for a while become?
What?
Infested Terrans.
Oh my god.
Never thought about that, man.
No, I never thought about it that way.
That's Marines on cold turkey, my friend. The way they stumble around because they just don't have any control
they
anymore.
look like drunk when they're not on drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually. Oh wow, big stem by Dreamer, which actually he could have. I think he could have moved in there, but he decided not to.
Stim is addictive, though. You always have to be careful. That's a golden stim.
Yeah. Once you stim too much, you sometimes walk into siege tank fire. As you can see, some symptoms here on these Marines.
Yeah, they're already starting. I'm actually a little bit worried for them. I would call the medevac in here for a console.
Yeah, I think they need to go see at the tech lab. There's a medic that actually specializes in drug addiction, and you know that very same person actually once developed a drug for Reapers to have them regenerate outside of combat.
Did you see all those Marines just pushing the siege tank sidewards? The siege tank was sliding. The tank commander was like, no, I don't want to go this way. And the Marines are like, we don't care.
The Marines are like actually like a mosh pit for that siege tank. He's like, I don't really like this, but I guess this is cool.
And right now, actually, Alive is getting a little bit ahead in this match. If you look at the bases that he has, so the top right is taking the 4th, he's taking the 5th.
But this is not going to be a way to continue that lead.
Yeah, that's not really what he should do here. He tries to go for run-bys with these small forces, but Dreamer has these sensor turrets. He knows exactly what's going on, and he intercepts them. But both of them are hitting their upgrades really well. On the production tab now, we have +3/+3 coming up. The army supply is a little bit ahead for Dreamer at this point. Alive with a bit more commitment to his economy, as I already mentioned earlier.
Oh, the planetary is under siege now. He can't actually really repair that either. He doesn't have any SCVs over here. He's just going to lose it slowly but steadily.
Yeah, he could call down mules, but that is not really what we want to do. That would be a very, very expensive repair.
And that is going to be the end of that planetary.
Bye, bye, bye.
Well, I think Legend was more interested in the medevac pilot. I think he had a crush on her.
She is cute, but there's so many of them.
Yeah, they all kind of seem
family.
the same to me.
Yeah. We don't want to be racist here or anything like that, but they really look all alike.
They look the same. Almost more so than Nurse Joy from Pokemon, man. Two players with +2 finishing up at the same time.
And we don't really have a lot of commitment in this game so far. They really try to just make small engagements happen to get into a good position and then capitalizing on it. But both of them really very map aware. Resources lost at this point is in favor of DreamerTT alive now. Oh, has to be very careful because DreamerTT is moving out. He's stimming in again, a huge stim. Actually overstims his Marines, is moving in and is now dropping down in supply like crazy.
Yeah, but this is not a good position for Alive. He drops on top of the tanks, however, which changed things for him. He takes a pretty big lead here.
It's actually a great position for Alive. Look at how much money he has on his banking in comparison to Dreamer. We talked about earlier about how much he committed to his economy, and this really pays off right now. He killed so much stuff. He's in the lead now if he comes down to the resources lost.
And he's going to stem in here, tries to take out the siege tanks. Takes out one, and we'll get the second one. He's got the better income. He's got the better position, so he can actually just force his way through here.
And this is well done by Alive. Now suddenly, within seconds, the game completely tilting in this direction. He forces the fourth of his opponents, so DreamerTT is now on 3 mining bases against Alive's 4 mining bases. And the Fnatic player takes now another base. He's going for the 5th once again.
Plus the extra orbitals.
And the upgrades. He's going for the +3 attack upgrade now. Maxed out once more, 200 supply, bam, right there.
We'll see how he wants to move forward. It looks like he's starting to get inch closer and closer to these Mancers. Gets a siege hit here. That's enough for him to actually fight this planetary, at least so he thinks.
The planetary is doing a fair amount of damage here, already 9 kills, and Alive needs to be careful, really wants to take it down. No repair whatsoever. And this is of course great for Alive. It's good for Alive in a positional matter of speaking, but he lost a lot committing to this. But all of the Marines are a little bit too over-eager when it comes down to attacking into siege tank range.
Yeah, and Alive is... I mean, he's just in such an aggressive position that all these rally units are dying, and DreamerTT is just making mistake after mistake, whereas Alive is flawlessly moving forward into this.
Just the bank that he has. He's maxed out and he has 1,700 minerals. He has the gas too. So he is in a position where he can always rebuild his army. DreamerTT is in a tough spot, but he has the 4 bases at the top left. He's not really mining from the position. Oh, and Alive is committing. He's moving in. The tank count is in his favor. He's taking out the tanks, trading here. He has the production to back it up. Another drop in the main base being shut down by the medevac. Only 2 Marines surviving.
And, I mean, the production tab says it all. Another factory coming down for Alive. He's not going to be able to hold this planetary. He's not even repairing it. He could have repaired it, but he didn't.
And this is, of course, now really bad. Oh, once again,
wow, a huge
Marines
pathing
here.
mistake, yeah.
He's just a little bit too late with his defense, and now Alive is trying to chase him down. Every tank that he loses is worth so much. The GG being called as DreamerTT loses map number 1. Alive